Refining Ante-Nicene Chiliasm into Dispensational Premillennialism. There's 3 steps involved. They're pretty simple and they're scripturally based, and in this video I'll explain it to you. Okay, let's talk about the refinements involved when basically systematizing the Ante-Nicene Chiliasm into dispensational premillennialism. I start off here with showing the 4 dispensations held by the early church, and I talk about these in my video called Ante-Nicene Chiliasm and give a reference to a study on that subject that you can look into. But here are the 4 dispensations as they held them. The first extending from Adam to Abraham and concerning Gentiles, not Israel, a different people of God. And then the second and third there, the second from Abraham to Moses and the third from Moses to Christ, shaded in brown. And during that time God was dealing with Israel. And their 4th dispensation then extending from Christ to the time that the kingdom comes, shaded in blue. That represents the church, who they would have regarded as the spiritual Israel and the new Israel, but not the old Israel and not a continuation of the old body. So there's the 4 dispensations they held, and I'll talk about basically the 3 refinements involved in taking this into a full system of dispensational premillennialism. First of all, their first dispensation from Adam to Abraham, we really feel that there were 2 dispensations in that period. So I'm going to draw a dotted line down the middle of that period there. We think the first half of it actually extended from the fall to Noah and the flood, and then another era then from the flood to Abraham. So we have an additional dispensation there, and that would bring it to 5 altogether at that point. Now, in my video Ante-Nicene Chiliasm, you'll remember I mentioned that the early church did not regard the kingdom age itself as a dispensation. And they also never really talked about it, but they never regarded the period from creation to the fall as a dispensation either. So I represent those on the screen there with the dotted circles there, all the way to the left and all the way to the right. That's the before the fall, an era there, and then the kingdom age when the Lord returns. Dispensationalists do regard those as dispensations. So that brings us to the 7 dispensations. And the final revision that's made, the final refinement, this is the one that really matters. This is the one that makes a difference. Now, you can see, if you look at the image as it is here, the Great Tribulation, the shaded red area toward the end of the blue, that would be at the end of the church age. But in prophecy, all of the prophecies about the Great Tribulation and so forth, they have to do with Israel. They don't have anything to do with the church. And they're also during the Old Covenant dispensation for Israel. That's why we find Jews in Jerusalem worshiping at the temple and so forth during that time. And what we have really through the Apostle Paul and his revelation of the mystery, he refers to this age we're in, the church, as the dispensation of the mystery that wasn't made known in previous times by God. It was hid in God. Part of his purpose that he didn't reveal. And it came in Acts 2, and it interrupts the Old Covenant dispensation for Israel. So the Great Tribulation period, actually it falls in a part of the Old Covenant dispensation that has yet to be fulfilled. And I've drawn here a white line. If you look at the dispensation there of law extending from Moses to Christ, that white line, I'm going to cut off the part of that dispensation that hasn't been fulfilled yet and move it to the end so that you can see the church interrupts that dispensation. And now this perfectly falls in line with Scripture, because in the Bible, it's the Old Covenant dispensation for Israel that comes to an end when the Lord comes and brings in the kingdom. So this adjustment is necessary scripturally, and this is where then you see the pre-tribulational timing of the rapture come into play there. And so there you have it. Those are the basic refinements involved. And really, one of them is the final one I talked about there, is the one that makes the big difference. And it's a scriptural refinement. It's necessary. And it's where pre-tribulationism comes from. And there you go, the refinements made to the original Christian position that produced dispensational premillennialism. I hope you found the video helpful, and please subscribe to my station and share this video with friends that might find it interesting. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.